How do you do market research for a small business? I've owned 16 different companies and helped hundreds. I'm going to tell you 5 specific steps. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right on. Good for you for starting to do the research. So often people just throw money at marketing because they're annoyed by it, or they're not really an expert and they just want it to go away. But I can tell you, as somebody who's literally spent hundreds of thousands on marketing and gotten nothing from it at times, that it is important to do the research up front, especially for small businesses. So the first step is to define your ideal customer. And with this is a way that you can go into the existing businesses of people you have and really define who are those people that, man, if we could clone them and get them to come in every day or buy our product or whatever it is, that this is exactly who we want. The reality is most small businesses make the vast majority of their profit, their net profit, from a handful, probably 20% of their customers. If you can define who are these customers and stay laser focused on them and really just market to them, and you try and double or triple or quadruple the number of the 20% of those customers that are the right ones that are driving all the profit, your profits will go through the roof. When you're just trying to get market share and grow, rarely does that work for a small business. So when we start identifying who our ideal target market is, 3 primary pieces to consider. Number 1 is the demographic, 2 is geographic, and the 3rd is the psychographic. The demographic is, who are they? What are the physical characteristics of this person? Do they have a title? Are they male? Are they female? Do they have a certain level of education? Are they the decision maker in the business? How do we define those people? The narrower you can get that, the easier it's going to be to market to them. So if you find that you happen to sell really well to 55-year-old males who like golfing and are in the C-suite, okay, fair enough. That's going to be a little bit easier. You probably aren't going to do that on Facebook. You're going to drive more towards LinkedIn. Or candidly, you may just go to the golf club itself and see how you can advertise to the group. But the first thing is the demographic. The second is the geographic. These people that you're doing great work with and you love, where are they geographically? And how can you go out and duplicate that in other areas? The more you can focus on that, the better. So maybe it's a center point plus 500 miles, or maybe it's down to neighborhoods. Maybe it's we do better outside of cities. If you're a virtual business, who knows what it is, but it's helping people to define what are those areas that you can do better, or what are the geographic indicators for these folks. The next one is the psychographic. And this one's fairly simple, but it's what is it they're really valuing? And this is where you need to do a reflection, and you may even have to go back and talk to them a little bit. But what are the things that they genuinely are liking? Usually you're going to know with your best customers. Maybe it's high-end service. Maybe it was really quick turnaround. Maybe it was trusted. Maybe it was guaranteed. Who knows what it is? But try and figure out what are those things that from a psychographic standpoint really valued to them. Document this. And this is going to be one of the very first steps in how you do that market research as a small business. Okay, so the second thing, once we've defined who they are, is identify what are the ideal outcomes you're providing. Most businesses screw this up. Most businesses want to tell us all about the features and benefits. I don't care about all the features and benefits. Once I get to know you and I decide I want to work with you, then I may want to know more of the features and benefits. What I really want to know are what are the outcomes you're going to provide me. This is why nobody thinks that McDonald's is the best place in the world to eat. That's why they don't talk about how they make it. They don't talk about how clean things are. They don't talk about how they make their burgers or where any of that comes. Nobody cares about any of that. They just want to know, at this time, I'm hungry. I know this. It'll be reasonable. It'll be fairly reasonably priced, and it'll be fairly reasonable food. It'll solve my hunger problem. So in this case, they are, any of the advertisements, they're basically trying to remind you about things. For you, think about what are the outcomes that you're providing. And I would encourage you to think about your service times 10x. So if your product or service is $1,000, try and list out 50 things that are worth $5,000 or more. What are 50 outcomes that could be better? Now, I did this with my strategic advisory work and the high-end coaching I do with CEOs. And I thought, well, this is going to be pretty hard. I got challenged to do this by somebody, and I thought it was great. So I was like, all right, well, where is it that people could get a $50,000 outcome? What is that worth? Well, I help people and they didn't have a heart attack. They didn't get divorced. They reconnected with their family. They made huge financial decisions. I mean, and I was able to just go stream of consciousness and list all these out. But this really helped me start understanding what are the impacts, what are the drivers. And this is going to start to create some of the tools when it comes to testing. So the first thing is define who we're working with. Second thing is defining the ideal outcomes. Third thing is figure out where are they finding you? How are those people finding you? Those ideal clients, where did they go? And this is going to take a little bit of calling or talking to them or however you engage with them. Now, for me personally, I have to say my number one source of business is referrals. So as long as I do an amazing job with my clients and I know when to ask for a referral, business is always coming in. So for you, if you can go through and figure out, well, yeah, we heard about from somebody. Okay, maybe it's a referral thing. So then maybe from a marketing perspective, we need to start a referral process. Or maybe say, yeah, we were at the country club, we heard about it. Or, I saw it in the church, the church flyer. Or, who knows what it is. Found you on Google. It's amazing how much everybody just defaults to Google AdWords and social media. The number of times, oh yeah, we just need a social media presence. That's a pain in the ass, and it's really, really hard to do well if you're not a native social media person. So I would encourage you to figure out where have people been finding you and then focus on that. Once you've done that, then start to create a plan. Start to identify a budget. What is the ROI, the return on our investment we're going to need to see on the budget? How do we know if we're being successful? What are we tracking? How do we know when somebody comes in and from where they come in? How can we test this in all sorts of ways? And that's the last thing is test it. Test it, test it, test it, test it, test it. And when you find something, finally a language that works, because you can switch two words around and it'll work incredibly well. Sometimes it won't. You put it in this way and then you switch it around, it works better. But when you start to do this and you start testing, maybe you only test with $50, $100, but then it's like, wow, we're getting return on this. Great. As soon as you know that, when that happens, that's when you're then going to double down and really start pushing on, okay, let's put gas on that flame so that we know as long as we're putting in $1, we're receiving $1 plus back in net profit. That's okay. Let's keep ramping it up. Let's keep ramping it up. And you'll have to define what it is, but that's where part of your plan comes down to. So with this, the 4 steps when you're going through and how do you do market research for a small business? Number 1, define who your ideal customer is. Demo, geo, and psycho. Second, define the ideal outcomes. What are all those outcomes they're getting? Make sure you sell to the outcomes, not the features and benefits. Third, how are these people finding you? Do the interviews, research, figure out where they are. So when it gets ready to fish, you go out and fish where the fish are. Fourth, build a plan. And lastly, test, test, test. So we talk more about that in the book and on the courses at Aspiring Solopreneur. If you're thinking of starting a business, again, it's never been easier or safer. I guarantee, literally, I guarantee if you go through this process, you're going to be able to make sure that you're doing things in the right way. And when you get ready to jump, it's a no-brainer. So ideally you found value. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much for investing the time and energy. Subscribe. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. Keep smiling.